Good day, and thank you for joining Black Agenda Report. I'm Margaret Kimberly. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and read blackagendareport.com. Our guest is Ambassador Malainin Lakhal. He's Deputy Representative of the Sahrawi Republic to the African Union. He's joining us from Algeria, and we'll be discussing the continued occupation of the Sahrawi Republic, known as Western Sahara by many people, the occupation of the Sahrawi Republic by Morocco, and Morocco's role in promoting irregular migration into Ceuta, a Spanish enclave, colony that is located on Moroccan territory. But Morocco is not an honest broker as it acts on behalf of U.S. and Israeli interests. Ambassador Lakhal will provide background on the Sahrawi Republic and its rights of self-determination under international law. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.
We have
Real pleasure.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to have a representative from your country here. Black Agenda Report, we've covered the Sahrawi Republic, known as Western Sahara by many people, for many years. But I'm not certain how many people are really familiar with its situation. It is being south of Morocco and west of Mauritania. But it is being occupied by Morocco. Give us some background on your nation.
Well, thank you very much for having me and for shedding light on this purely Pan-African issue of decolonization. One of the last remaining cases of decolonization in Africa. Western Sahara was a Spanish colony from 1884 until 1975, when Spain decided unilaterally to struck a deal with Morocco and Mauritania to give them the access to the territory, divided between Morocco from the north, as you said, and Mauritania from the south, and Spain maintaining the economic interest and benefit from the Sahrawi resources. So that was the colonial era. In 75, Morocco invaded militarily, occupied the territory, devastated everything, killed anything on its way to control the main cities on the west, on the Atlantic Ocean, and creating big case of displacement, forced displacement for a huge part of the Sahrawi people who had the only access to flee the massacre was to go to Algeria, which was the only neighboring country that did not contribute or participate in this colonial or neo-colonial invasion of Western Sahara. What happened in 75 was that Spain, Morocco, and Mauritania, if you want, stopped a UN-led process of decolonization. The Sahrawis were supposed to have a referendum in 75 to decide if they want to stay with Spain, the then colonial power, or to have their own independent state. But because Spain, Morocco, and other Western powers also knew that Sahrawi people would choose independence, as the UN mission in 75 said, so they had to abort this freedom agenda of the Sahrawis, and they, managed and had this conspiracy, if you want, conspiracy that lets the American audience be clear about it. That was planned and partly planned by Kissinger himself, who advised King Hassan II to strike a deal with Spain and to invade the territory. So the United States was there from the beginning through Kissinger, maybe through other politicians, but not of course, the American people, who would have never accepted that self-determination that they are so proud of be violated this way, or so it should be. So this is what happened. Of course, the African Union, the then Organization of African Unity, did not accept this colonial fait accompli. They rejected Hassan II and the King of Morocco plans, and they kept pressuring Morocco, Mauritania, the United Nations also to back off and to let the Sahrawi people get their independence. And it was thanks to the efforts of the OAU, but also after 16 years of war between Polisario Front, the Sahrawi Liberation Movement, and Morocco, that the Moroccan king finally accepted a UN OAU brokered settlement plan that was supposed to end this issue in 91-92. But here we are still fighting for our independence and fighting for our basic rights of determination.
And is the United States still playing that same role 50 years later?
Well, the United Nations from 75 until 90, until recently, until the first Trump administration, was more or less very balanced. It supported, of course, Morocco. They want the Moroccans to get the country to, but they were not against any sort of referendum or of popular decision by the Sahrawi people, and that was, acceptable. A neutral position. Maybe the administration was leaning towards Morocco, but still, they were fair in dealing with the Sahrawis. But in 2020, unfortunately, the first Trump administration, or Trump himself, tweeted that he supported the Moroccanity of Western Sahara, and in this way he emboldened the Moroccans, and he gave them a push to try to impose the colonial fait accompli, to reject any sort of United Nations solution, or any sort of solution, democratic solution, that would give the Sahrawi people a right self-determination. The Biden administration did not reverse the first Trump administration position, but it tried to come back by deeds to neutrality, and now Trump is back fully supporting Morocco against the Sahrawi people. And the bad things, or the very dangerous thing, is that they want to have a deal outside of the United Nations and outside of the international legality, which is really dangerous, not only for Sahrawis, because we are already living this dilemma for 50 years now, but it is very dangerous for the African Union, for Africa, because if you go back to the African Union Constitutive Act and Charter of the OAU itself, it is built on a pillar principle, which says that Africans, all African nations, must respect the borders that were inherited from colonialism, even if we don't agree about that. In many cases, there are many cases of many conflicts of borders, but still, our goal and our dream as Africans is to build a unified Africa, a unified African Union, but while respecting each nation, small or big, it doesn't matter. Every African nation should have its place within this architecture of the African Union. Now, if Morocco succeeds by the support of the US or any other support to violate the international law and to impose its expansionism on Western Sahara, then tomorrow someone else will do the same, will follow course. And this is very dangerous for Africa, but also for the United Nations, which I should also recall is recognizing to the Sahrawi people a genuine right to self-determination. Sahrawi people is the only owner of Western Sahara. It's not Morocco, it's not Trump, it's not the United States, it's not France, it's not even the United Nations. It is the Sahrawi people, and only the Sahrawi people should decide what they want as their future.
This is a good moment to talk about Morocco, not just about your nation and its occupation of the Sahrawi Republic, but Morocco has been in the news of late. Just last week, there was a crisis. I think it's fair to say a manufactured immigration crisis, whereby Morocco encouraged thousands of people to enter Ceuta, a Spanish enclave colony. I'm not sure which word to use, but it is physically located in Morocco, and urged thousands of people to use Ceuta as a migration route to Spain and to Europe. It's clearly manufactured. Many of these people, I mean, it was quite obvious they weren't even carrying possessions with them, which is what you'd expect, right, from people trying to migrate from one country to another. Some estimates are up to 50,000 people over a couple of days, but then most of them went home. Sadly, at least 100 people died in this effort that was instigated, it's believed, by the United States and by Israel. It was a means of punishing Spain for showing just even a little token opposition to the U.S. and its role in Western Asia. Spain is not allowed its territory to be used in attacking Iran, for example. Spain has even mildly, I'd say just mildly, criticized Israel's war crimes. So this was instigated tragically. So Morocco, I think it explains, and I bring this up because I think it explains its behavior towards Western Sahara. Talk to us about this crisis that occurred.
Well, this is a very sad episode of how the Moroccan government, not the people, I'm talking about the government, how the rulers of Morocco are lightly considering the lives of its own people in such sad display of irresponsibility towards its own people first, but also towards its neighbors. Because what's happened in Western Sahara in '75 is the manifestation of a doctrine of expansionism from this Moroccan kingdom. Because mind you, before the invasion of Western Sahara, the Moroccan king, few years after its independence like programmed independence from France, first attacked Algeria. 1 year after Algeria got its independence, trying to grab a big portion of the southwestern Algeria. They have a 6 days war between the newly born Algeria, which has still, like few days, was colonized by France, and the Kingdom of Morocco. They have 6 days of war, and not only Algeria, also Mauritania. Morocco had claims in Mauritania. It didn't accept the independence of Mauritania in '61 and kept claiming it as its own until '69 or '70, when it finally brokered a sort of agreement with Mauritania and drag it to the occupation, to the double occupation of Western Sahara back in '75. So this is not the first time. Morocco has problems with all its neighbors, with Algeria, Western Sahara, Mauritania, and Spain, of course. With Spain, the relation has always been about these two enclaves, which are cities on African soil, but they have been Spanish from 1490 something. So they are very old cities, very old Spanish governed cities, but also the Canary Islands, which are very close to Western Sahara and to Morocco. Morocco also claims that these islands are his in a way. So they have always been this problems between Morocco and Spain. But Morocco was keeping a blind eye to its claim on Ceuta and Melilla as long as Spain recognizes or accepts its occupation of Western Sahara. Because you remember that I told you that Spain was the colonial power. So it still holds the responsibility, legal responsibility, towards the decolonization of this territory, because it did not decolonize its colony. It just abandoned it to Morocco and Mauritania. So legally speaking, Spain is still responsible for decolonizing, or at least participating in the decolonization to Western Sahara. But unfortunately, and for many reasons, we don't have time to talk about all that, but Morocco had some leverage over the current Prime Minister of Spain, Sanchez. Maybe some materials they have to blackmail Sanchez, because it is said that the Moroccan intelligence had used Pegasus spyware against Sanchez and against some of his colleagues in the government. And in 2022, just out of the blue, without any warning, without consulting any political parties in his government, Sanchez came to Morocco and said that he supports the Moroccan claim in Western Sahara, which was a violation of the traditional position Spain, the different Spanish government have maintained since '75. They have always said that they support the United Nations process, the United Nations efforts, blah, 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 not doing what they should do, but at least they were supporting the United Nations. Now, with Sanchez in 22, he supported Morocco, and despite of this concession to the king, you have followed what happened in Ceuta. Morocco is still using its own people as a weapon, as a card against Spain and against the European Union, because Spain is Europe. And this is not the first time, by the way. In 22, before this Sanchez concession, there was another wave of mass migration that was unleashed, obviously orchestrated by the police, Moroccan police, because there are videos of police escorting migrants to the doors of the enclaves, allowing them to cross the sea. So it is orchestrated. It is a card that has always been used by Morocco against Europe, but mainly against Spain. And it's not the only card that Morocco is using, by the way. Morocco is also using drugs dealing. Morocco is a cartel, is a big cartel of cannabis, of drugs coming from Colombia, from Latin America, landing in Morocco, without the knowledge of the government, and then spread to the neighboring countries, crossing the desert, imagine, to reach even Libya, from Libya to Italy, and reaching Egypt, from Egypt to Palestine, Israel, and Europe. So it is a huge cannabis and drug roads, if you want, that are landing in Morocco and spreading from Morocco to the region, and use, and this is not me talking, you can go to even to US reports about drugs and international crime, and you will see that in 2017, for example, the American Bureau or an institution of drugs and international crime was saying that in 2017, for example, Morocco had made some $23 billion of drug dealing. And when you talk drug dealing, you also talk about money laundering. And guess what? Morocco has a very big network of banks owned by the king all over African countries, especially West Africa and even in Brussels. And guess what? What happened in Brussels? There was a Morocco Gate in Brussels just 2021-22, where it was revealed that Morocco was bribing European parliamentarians, using them specifically to influence the European Union position on Western Sahara. So, in a nutshell, all what is called Moroccan foreign affairs is based on trying to influence countries' position in Western Sahara. Western Sahara seems to be, I don't know how to say it, but it's a dream. Morocco longs to control this country because it will give him more territory. So geostrategically speaking, Morocco will have access to Africa because with its current borders, Morocco is just a small country on the northwest of Africa. It has no real reach to Africa, and for its own reasons, it has bad relation with all its neighbors. It creates problem for Algeria. Now there's no relation between Algeria and Morocco. Morocco is bringing Israel to the region, threatening Algeria and the whole Northern Africa. I don't know if you have followed how the Israeli Minister of Defense threatened Algeria from Rabat. And I don't know if you have seen how the president of France, Macron, recognized the Moroccanity of Western Sahara from the Moroccan parliament. So it's huge provocations that Morocco have always had against all its neighbors. And for these reasons, it doesn't bother using all the cards in its hand to blackmail all the countries of the region, but above it all, to blackmail the European Union and Spain.
And you are in Algeria.
Yes.
Tell us about your role there.
No, I am a diplomat. I am based in Addis Ababa in the African Union, but the Sahrawi refugees are living in the southwest of Algeria, in the Tindouf region. The Tindouf region is the southern western region of Algeria, and it was the only space where the Sahrawi civilians could be saved from the Moroccan invasion in 75, as I told you before, because in 75 we were attacked by Morocco from the north and Mauritania from the south. And we had the Atlantic Ocean on the west. So the only gateway we had was from the east to Algeria. And Algeria, in the 60s and 70s until now, was and is a sanctuary for many liberation movements. You remember that Amilcar Cabral had said that if Muslims go to Mecca and Christians go to the Vatican, revolutionary people go to Algeria. So Algeria was hosting ANC, hosting SWAPO, hosting all the African liberation movement, and also even Asian liberation movement like in East Timor. And of course, they gave refuge in 75, 76 to thousands of Sahrawi refugees, basically elderly, women, children. And we have now five refugee camps still in the southwest of Algeria. My family, my small family, is here in these refugee camps, but my brothers, sisters are still living in occupied territory in Laayoune, the capital of Western Sahara, which I myself was born there in 71 under the Spanish rule, and my country was controlled by Morocco from 75. I studied in Moroccan schools, and in 2000, I fled my own country to join the refugee camps and to continue the fight because I couldn't continue fighting from inside the country because of arrest, imprisonment, torture, and so
Thank you for that background on Algeria. And Algeria also provided sanctuary to people from the U.S. and the Black Panther Party and other organizations.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Repression here. As we close, is there anything you wanted to mention that I didn't ask?
Well, I just wanted to say that since you are an American media outlet, I think that it is very crucial for Americans, for US citizens, to understand that they are not far away from all these troubles that is going in Western Sahara. Your governments have been always been involved in maintaining a colonial situation that should not be acceptable to anyone who respects the right of people to freedom and the right of people to self-determination. I want to tell the Americans also that we as Sahrawis, we have always resisted colonial powers. We have never given up the fight, no matter how small people we are, because we don't make 1 million people as Sahrawis. We are a very small nation, but we have proven that a unified people can never be defeated, because we are fighting behind Morocco. We are fighting the French, the Israelis, the Gulf money, the Americans, and a whole spectrum of supporters of this colonial adventure in Western Sahara. It is unfair. It is illegal. It is unacceptable and should be condemned by any free man or woman in the world.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. That's Ambassador, excuse me, Ambassador Malainin Lakhal. He's Deputy Representative of the Sahrawi Republic to the African Union and a representative to Ethiopia as well. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.